From the Bruce Sadler, your fast friend in the car business at Stingray Chevrolet and Bartow, Florida studios, this is the Brow Report with Matt and Bill.
Hey folks, we're live 6 p.m. Eastern Time on the Brow Report Radio Show. Thank you so much for joining us on the program on a wonderful Tuesday night here in Florida. Remember, folks, you can get us everywhere. iHeartRadio, Blog Talk Radio, iTunes, YouTube. You can get us everywhere. Tonight on the show, red flag laws, concerns about them, your freedom, and the creeping communism that's going along with it, and the gun grab. So if you want to call in live on Blog Talk Radio tonight, feel free. 516-666-9875 is the number to join us live on the show. Remember, folks, get us on iHeart. You can get us on Blog Talk Radio, iTunes, Stitcher, and YouTube. We'll post the video of the broadcast on YouTube and Facebook after the show. So make sure to check that out. Like us on Facebook and Instagram. We want to hear from you. And if you message us, we will respond to you on Facebook. We do that constantly on Instagram. We are a grassroots type of program, so make sure to join us there. We got Aaron on the show. Aaron is stepping up to the plate, hitting home runs for the Atlanta Braves tonight on the Brow Report. Aaron, how are you?
Doing well tonight, man. How about yourself?
Doing good. All right, so tell us, what's on the polls tonight, man?
So the main poll is just basically about, will these supposed red flag laws, will they decrease the number of mass shootings, or is it just a gun grab in disguise? So hop online to facebook.com/Brower Report, and you can vote, you can leave comments, and we may even read some of those comments on the air.
Yeah, we actually read comments. We actually listen to you. It's a miracle, right? Some radio shows don't do that. We actually listen to y'all. We had a person write us on Facebook Messenger today saying that I posted an article from 2016, and it's like, why am I not posting more relevant current news? Her name's Linda. And I said, I just want to give a constant reminder that Democrats haven't changed any from 2016. They continue to be crazy. And she's like, well, it's like, I understand that, but, let's go for more current stuff. It's like, I still love your show. I still love the page. And I'm like, thank you. We want to hear from you. I mean, we may not do exactly everything you like us to do. I mean, I posted something from 2016 yesterday, the other day. I mean, sometimes it happens, but, people like it. They comment on it. They react to it. So I want to make sure that, leading up to the 2020 election, we're getting the information out there for the voters, especially when the Democrats and their fake news continuously try to destroy our country. We got to put the information out there for the folks. So we love y'all. Over 54,000 likes on Facebook, over 5,000 on Instagram, and we're trying to grow a YouTube channel. So if you like YouTube, join us there. Just go to Brow Report on YouTube, like the videos, share them, tell us what you think about them. We're trying to give you as much information as possible on the Brow Report. So, all right, let's talk about these red flag laws. There's a lot of states, and we're going to talk about the states in a few minutes also, Aaron. All these states that are doing these red flag laws. I think Connecticut's actually had one of the books since the late 90s, which is kind of surprising. But these red flag laws, they're creeping on us. After 9/11, everybody was like, hey, we need to be more secure. And once, we're more secure, we're going to give your freedoms back. It didn't really happen that way. It never does. It's a creeping security state. We're going to sacrifice your freedoms for more security. Hong Kong's finding that right now. Hong Kong is just telling, like China, hey, you promised us you wouldn't be creeping on us. We would be able to keep our democracy after the British left. Now, you got over 1 million people in the streets not breaking windows or setting fires like Antifa. They're actually just say, keep your promise. And I think the United States government needs to keep its promise for our Second Amendment rights to bear arms. But now we have this creeping situation in the United States where, hey, they're going to use any way possible to take your guns away or prevent you from getting guns. Aaron, what's your thoughts on this before we really get deep into this?
No, I'm in agreement there. I think that it is, don't get me wrong. You see something, you say something. But are more laws going to make things safer? Or are criminals who are willing to kill people and themselves, are they going to suddenly say, oh, you know what? There's a law against this. I can't do it. Like there's a law against robbing or holding a bank, at gunpoint. But people do it every day. Every couple of days you see about a bank robbery. Or, I'll use another example. you drive down I-4, which for those of you who are listening from out of state, that's the main interstate that cuts Florida right in half, north and south, runs from one coast basically to the other, Daytona to Tampa. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it's 70 miles an hour to drive through there. And let's be honest, Matt, I know you've driven on it before. I've driven on it before, and you see people going 90 all the time.
Yeah, exactly.
So laws are not going to, what I'm getting at here is just because there's a law doesn't mean people are going to follow it. So I personally believe that, without getting into conspiracy theories or anything here, red flag laws, personally, I don't think are going to work. I think if you see something, you see somebody's behavior acting weird, that's one thing. But I think what this is intended to do by design is to, cause situations where you say, oh, that person acted a little strange on this particular day.
Yeah.
Now they're going to go, maybe 6 months later, they're going to go and try to purchase a gun for their own safety, not for anything else, just for their own safety. Well, because of this thing that somebody said they did, 6 months earlier, now they're popping up as a red flag in the system, and it just, to me, it doesn't add up.
It's not even a system. It's not even a system per se.
Yeah.
People don't understand. It's like, oh, we're gonna have this red flag system. No, it's not a red flag system. Now, if we have a system in place right now, we have investigations. We have the FBI. We have local law enforcement, state law enforcement. We have the tools to figure out who these people are. We know the Tsarnaev brothers were a threat. The Russians even told us they were a threat before the Boston bombing. But guess what? They did. They let them go. The Russian, the intelligence agency, maybe KGB, talked to them over there, and they said, "Hey, these guys are bad news." And what did Obama do? Not a damn thing.
Mm-hmm.
Not a damn thing. So they blew up people, they injured, maimed them, changed people's lives forever, destroyed families, but they didn't give a shit. That's what happens with the Obama administration. They didn't care about that. They're politicizing everything.
Well, and you go back to, I'll use Parkland as an example, and this is where I was kind of hinting at the conspiracy theories. And I'm not going to mention the guy's name on air just because I don't think he deserves the credit
exactly.
Here. But they knew so many things about this guy ahead of time. I mean, to the nth degree, he had. I mean, society failed him, or the program failed him. He should never have been able to get to the point where he was able to purchase the weapon, and he certainly had no opportunity to go onto that campus. But all the things that were known about him, he should have been stopped in his tracks months and months and months earlier. When he bought that gun, it was already too late at that point. And to add to the chaos, and rightfully so, this gentleman was fired as an officer here, I don't know, maybe 6 or 8 weeks ago. The officer who was in charge of that school basically stood down and told all the other officers that were approaching to stand down. So you want to tell me that red flag laws are going to help in some way, shape, or form if law enforcement isn't going to step in and do what they're supposed to do and protect us? Nope. I'm sorry. This country was founded in 1776, and the Second Amendment says that I have a right to bear arms. And I'm going to protect myself. I'm going to protect my family. And anyone who comes and tries to stand between that, that they're infringing on what this country was founded on. So, end of story there.
Absolutely. And when we're talking about, I mean, we live in a data-driven society. I mean, there's
Mm-hmm.
I mean, social media, you got Facebook, you got Instagram, you got all these different places. They have algorithms. I mean, even Donald Trump is asking like social media partners to say, hey, provide us with data so we can help find out who may be a threat. Now, it's big data. It's big brother. I get it. But at the same time, these red flag laws, what I'm talking about here in terms of red flag laws, everybody, is not the data. It's your next door neighbor that's a liberal, that knows you're a gun owner, maybe a Trump supporter, you're a Republican. They know that. They know you have a flag outside, an American flag. It offends them. They think you're a Nazi now, and they're going to call the cops and say that you threatened them or you're mentally unstable. They're going to make up things. This is when these red flag laws get extremely dangerous, is when you start targeting people based off their political beliefs. This is it's almost like 1920s, early 1930s Germany, when you're starting to get targeted by people. It's like the Gestapo. is coming after you to like take your guns away. This is a classic, pit the left versus the right, and it's not, and most Americans just want to live their lives, have their kids, have their family, buy a house, have a decent job, have health insurance, and leave me the hell alone. But you got these lefties that are trying to say, hey, we need to ban guns. We need the ability to buy guns to stop. We need these background checks. Well, guess what, folks? There's background checks already. They even have background checks at gun shows. Concealed carry background checks. You got background checks at gun dealers. But guess what? Criminals don't go get background checks, you dumbasses. They don't. They never have. They never will. The drug dealers on the corner ain't going to the gun show, and they're not going to your local gun dealer to buy handguns. They're getting them illegally. They're getting them there stolen. That's what's happening. We had a theft here within the last couple of years here near where we live, Aaron, and they just busted up in the back of this gun store and stole a bunch of guns. So do you think these criminals are going through background checks to get the guns? No. I mean, that's what happens. And guess what?
They're certainly not going to do it now.
No. And they can make bullets too. People are like, we need to stop the guns. Well, here's the thing, the bullets. I mean, people can make bullets. They don't need you to give them permission to buy bullets. So we're coming to this.
Well, and you look at what the left has tried to do. Look at what the left has tried to do there in California, for instance, and I think there's a few other states that have gone this same trend. Kind of like when they've tried to. There's a push in the United States right now to get rid of smoking, and instead of making it where it's illegal, well, in some places it is illegal, but instead of making it where it's illegal overall, they're making it so expensive that some people are like, well, I've got to either eat or smoke. So it's the same thing with bullets. You're saying, okay, we're going to make them so expensive that people are going to say, well, normally I had this many rounds, with me at any given time or in my possession at any given time. They're making them so expensive that it's unaffordable. So they're trying to find creative ways to manipulate, what goes on, which that's really what the liberals are. They're master manipulators.
Oh, yeah.
If you just want to call them out for what they are.
They'll change laws, saying we're here to protect the children. We want to reduce gun violence and protect the children. There's gun violence every damn single day in Chicago. The crime is out of control. People getting shot and murdered all the time. We see all the stories, but here's the thing. You get desensitized to this over the years. It's like, it's normal. That's the norm. What they're looking for is things that are out of the norm. The Walmart El Paso shooter, the Garlic Festival in California shooter, the one in Dayton, Ohio. The one guy in Dayton, Ohio was a damn Satanist. I mean, come on, people. I mean, he worshipped Satan. Yeah. I mean, this is what, in the guy in El Paso, he was a white supremacist. But, I mean, Trump didn't do this to him. This guy had a lot of hate. You can probably look at the hate where it was coming from. It starts at home. It starts in the local community. These people, and he should have been red flagged. I mean, they should have had something on this guy to say, hey, this guy is going to do something. But you can't go George Orwell, 1984, and say that we're going to track everybody. You can't do it. It's called freedom. The First Amendment right to free speech, the Second Amendment right to bear arms shall not be infringed. It's not the Bill of Privilege, it's the Bill of Rights. And once we start treating it as a bill of privilege, like liberalism in this country, you got people that are straight up pedophiles saying whatever they want to. They're putting this shit on YouTube for years. You have people like Jeffrey Epstein out there going around, sex trafficking. The politicians knew about it, and no one did anything about it. And you really count on these politicians to do the right thing with red flag laws? These are the people that want to take your guns away. If you take guns away from people, that's taking freedom. Because the Second Amendment was not made for hunting. It was made for the people to protect themselves against the tyranny of the government. Not to protect us from an invasion from a foreign country. That's the military's job. This was designed solely by the founders to protect us from a government that will take your rights and freedoms away. Because the British were doing that to the American colonists. They were rounding up guns. They wanted to take the guns away because they knew an armed population was a threat against the government. When the government gets too large and too big. And remember that, I mean, they started a revolution over like a 2 to 3% tax on tea. And now we're over 30%. Some state, like California, is like 13% income tax. But we're talking about the government wants to take the guns away from us to protect us. From what? From what? From criminals? You made a great example, Aaron. The Parkland shooting. Those kids were left to die. The teachers were left to die by the Broward County Sheriff's Department. And I'm not saying all of them are bad people. By any means of the imagination, I know great people in law enforcement. They would have gone in there and protected those kids. But we've got slacker asses out there that want a government paycheck and they want a government retirement, but they're not willing to do the actual job. And those people need to be fired. If you're not willing to do the job that you signed up for, your ass should be fired. Simple, end of story.
I agree, 100%.
And the Parkland kids died. For what? This is the prime example.
Well,
a bad person got a gun.
Same thing that happened at, it's the same thing that happened at Sandy Hook. It's the same thing that happened at
exactly.
I believe it was a military installation in, I want to say, Chattanooga.
Yes.
The same thing happened in Texas in 2009.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we can go back. We can go back, all the way to.
This has been happening since the late 90s with Columbine.
Yeah, Columbine was probably the biggest one that started.
That was like that's you use Columbine. I think it was 99 that occurred. That's the point that mass shootings started to happen at schools and stuff. But but these kids, and there's we're maybe getting to a little bit of a conspiracy here for a few minutes, but a lot of these kids are on psychiatric drugs, and a lot of these shooters are on psychiatric drugs. They should be monitored by doctors. I'm not saying take their guns away, okay? I'm not saying if you're on some kind of psychiatric medication, your gun should be taken away from you. I'm not saying that. But I'm telling you this right now. They are trying to create a link, and they're going to say, with the red flag laws, they're going to get psychiatrists involved, government-paid, funded psychiatrists. They're going to make a determination on your mental health. That's what's going to happen in this country. And people were like, that's great. We're going to have a psychiatrist that can say, you can have guns. No. It doesn't work that way. They're going to be government-paid psychiatrists. They're going to be looking for people that are going to say, take the guns. They're going to be looking for people to do that. And you're going to be looking for people that are like on antidepressants. They're going to be looking for people on Prozac and stuff. They're going to say, those people might shoot themselves. No. Some people take these medications because they're sad. Not because they're suicidal. They're not suicidal. They're just trying to get through the day. Then they're going to go for anti-anxiety drugs. That's what they're going to do next. Then they're going to go for anybody with a medical marijuana card. Because technically marijuana, folks, is still legal. It's still federally illegal to have marijuana. So they're going to, if you have a medical marijuana card, good luck for a concealed carry permit. Because you got to admit that you're taking medical marijuana. They're going to deny it. So it's already started. It's already started around the country. So you're going to be looking at people that are on medical marijuana, even CBD. Maybe they're going to target that next because this is a derivative of marijuana. It's the oil. It's not hallucinogenic by any means, but they're still going to be looking at it. Hey, you're taking something that's technically illegal, and they're going to be targeting people like that. They're going to say, you're targeted, you're red flagged, you can't have guns. But they say once people start giving up their guns willingly like that, that's going to spell doom for the end because there's so many people in this country that are on psychiatric drugs. The pharma industry has created a monster in this country. I mean, you take one medication, you take the next medication, you take the other one for the side effects of that one, the side effects of that one. Then all of a sudden you're in this roller coaster of pharmaceuticals. And I'm not a doctor here, Aaron, but we can see this is what's occurring in this country. People are doped up. And the government's going to look for a reason for psychiatrists to say, hey, listen, I mean, this person's on medical marijuana. I'm going to turn them in. That's what's going to happen. There's going to be some rogue doctors out there. And they're going to say, hey, I've got the database. And remember, all this electronic medical charting they have now, it's all going to the same place probably. That's what's happening.
Yeah.
The insurance companies have it too. Life insurance companies. Let's say life insurance company knows that you're taking antidepressants. And the doctor asked at your last visit, do you own a gun? Yes. They're going to drop your ass. That's what they're going to do. because they're afraid of
No,
you.
that's why you lie. I mean,
That's what happens.
None of their business.
But here's what happens.
Yeah, I mean,
they're going to investigate it, and what they're going to do, if let's say you died legitimately, I'm not wishing ill will on anybody, but let's say you got $1 million insurance policy, they're going to investigate it before they pay it out. They're going to find out that person had a gun, they lied on their medical examination, and they're going to deny it. So it goes just beyond the typical "I'm going to take your gun away." It's going to be all-encompassing. It is going to be a corporate war against Americans. It's not conspiracy. I mean, it's going to happen. It's happening probably already. We just don't know it yet.
Well, let me throw a little gas on the fire here. This is a little bit off the gun topic specifically, but it just kind of shows you the mind of how the liberals are trying to, impose their will onto the United States and to the American people. I'm going to tell you this right now, as someone who listens very, very emphatically to Rush Limbaugh. He was going very, very much into how, one thing that they're trying to do on the left, and it's particularly the very, very far left, which is basically the left at this point, where they're looking at, the original framers or founders of our country, and they're trying to say, that it was not legitimately founded, it was founded upon slavery, yada, 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 and they're going back to the 1600s, 100 years plus before, or almost 100 years before our country was actually, founded in 1776, to say there's a document that shows this is when America was originally founded. So I'm going to say this right now. They're going to use that once they get back into power at some point. They're going to utilize that to try and change the entire structure of what our country was founded on and what it stands for. On the other side of things there too, and again, I know I'm kind of going off on a little bit of a different tangent here. You notice how, the economy is going to be what's going to win Trump re-election. And in the last, probably 6 months or so, you've heard Bill Maher several times say, I'm rooting for a bad economy. It's going to be worth it for people to lose their homes, jobs, and all their stuff so we can get this guy out of office. And now they have this report coming out that says there's an expected recession in the United States in 2021. It's totally false. It's totally false. I mean, they're just trying to get anything they can to get a foothold in the voters.
It's fake news.
So
it's what they're doing.
People, all I'm trying to say more than anything else is just, if you want red flags, the red flags are anything that comes out of a liberal's mouth is total BS. That's all I'm trying to get at.
Goebbels would be proud, the propaganda master of the Nazi Germany. This is what they're doing. They have CNN, MSNBC, CBS, ABC, and some of those Fox commentators are getting pretty crazy too. But all they're doing is spewing propaganda. Oh, it's going to get bad. 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 Shooting, shooting, shooting. That's all they're talking about. They're not talking about the positives. And that's kind of what we do at the end of the show. It's a feel-good story of the day. Because here's the thing. The news, they're trying to rile you up. They want advertising dollars. That's what they're looking for. They were trying to rile you up. What you're going to get on our program here every week is you're going to get actual facts. You're going to get, you should be awake. I mean, you don't need to be a sheep, but you need to be able to be prepared just in case something's coming around the corner. So let's get to this Democratic presidential candidate, Kamala Harris, the great senator that from California, gosh, she's nuts, has taken the concept of red flag gun confiscation laws a step further with a proposal to take guns away from white nationalists who might commit a hate crime. Now think about this, who might. Man, remember when we're labeling people? They're going to be labeling groups, hate groups. That's what they're going to start doing. And it's not because they're a hate group. They might be, there's a group called out in Portland area, Patriot Prayer. They just want to bring prayer back. They want to bring some morals back. And the mayor of Portland has pretty much labeled them as a hate group. Antifa can go around doing whatever the hell they want to, pretty much burning shit, beating people up. They beat up a openly gay Asian guy that was trying to do reporting down there. I mean, I thought it was what Antifa was trying to protect was the minority gays, but no, that's a terrorist group. I mean, Antifa is. They're crazy.
Isn't that ironic? I mean, and the sickest thing about that is, and this has been going on for longer than we can probably even remember at this point, but the mayor of Portland basically told the police department to stand down, to not do anything, to not come to anybody's defense or aid why do they even have a police department there anymore?
I know.
If they're not going to do something.
Protect the
and you
people.
know what? If that police chief had any gall in them at all, I don't know if it's him or her, but they would say, look, you're the mayor. I'm going to go above you, and I'm going to do what I'm supposed to do, and I'm going to uphold the law. And if I see somebody attacking somebody, I'm going to make sure that they are, prosecuted and they come to full justice for it. It's no different, though, than what's going on in New York with de Blasio and the people who are throwing water at police officers. And police officers, unfortunately, now are afraid to do anything back because they're afraid it's going to create a riot, or they're going to end up getting shot themselves, or this is what the left wants.
Is Democrat
this is
cities.
The war they want to bring to our doorsteps.
You remember when they rioted in Baltimore? They said just let them work out some of their frustration. What, on police cars, neighbors? Remember the CVS that they burned down in Baltimore?
Yep.
They burned it down. That's where people needed prescriptions. It was food.
Yeah.
It was like the only thing in that area that was a major corporation. They burned it to the ground. What the hell? Another Democrat city. These Democrats, they say, "Oh, we care about the poor. We care about the black community. We care about minorities." They don't care about shit. Elijah Cummings is a bastard. He hasn't done shit for Baltimore.
Let me give you a firsthand perspective. Let me give you a firsthand perspective. I was in Detroit here in the last, 3 or 4 weeks, whatever it was, and it looks a little bit better than it did, probably 10 or 15 years ago, but it's still a democratically run city. And I'm sorry, but it doesn't take a rocket scientist or whatever to figure out that if you're a city or an entity that has failed for 5 decades since the 1960s, since probably about the mid-60s rather, if you've been failing consistently, then that's a pointing at your leadership. And if your leadership has been consistently the same the entire time, I mean, there's no other conclusion you can draw other than
insanity.
Hey, it's your fault.
It's insanity.
Yeah.
Thinking you're gonna get a change, and all they do is like say, let's blame white people. What?
Yep.
Let's blame Republicans. What? Because Republicans want you to get a job and do what's right for your family? I mean, there's some bad Republicans out there, don't get me wrong. I think, conservatism and libertarianism is the way to go. Leave me the hell alone. Stop taxing the shit out of me to pay for other people's way. There's ways to fix things. Democrats don't want to fix things. If anybody fixes things, they can't run on things that get people mad and upset. It's like the Republicans want to throw Granny over the cliff. No, we want Granny to actually have the ability to get her medicine at a decent price. And when the Democrats run up, costs with regulations and unnecessary red tape, that's what happens. We don't need to nationalize the healthcare system. We don't need to take guns away from people either. We need common sense policing now. Stop trying to profile people all the time that are white and have a conservative view. I mean, isn't that racist? That's racist.
If it were the other way around, it would be, but it's not.
I mean, you can't.
In society's eye, anyway.
I mean, if you're white, you've got to have this. You got to bow down to the liberals and say, "I'm so sorry for my ancestors," when your ancestors had nothing to do with it. And what are they going to do when they find out there was actually blacks that owned slaves back before the Civil War? Have they mentioned that yet? That's pesky facts.
It's conveniently left out or ignored. I mean, that's really what it boils down to.
That's crazy.
And that's where the scariness in letting either party have control over what's in education. I mean, we're kind of going down a whole other track here, but when you start letting, opinion rise above facts and rise above what actually occurred, because people on the left, this is why we're in the situation we're in with them trying to get Trump out of office, they cannot handle the truth. It's just like that line in the movie.
That's the truth.
You want the truth. No. You can't handle the Jack Nicholson. You can't handle the truth. That's basically what it boils down to. So
there's people out there that can't handle the truth. The low education voter. And here's the thing. It's low education. It's not skin type. It's education level. And when you have a failing public school system that continues to fail the people, it doesn't teach you the difference between communism, fascism, socialism, and capitalism anymore, because they might offend somebody. And when you get the liberalism inside of that, it's just communism. That's all it is. I mean, they want to if they want to take your guns, I mean, that's what they want to do. Because if you're disarmed, they can do whatever they want. They're like, we need to protect the children. Yeah. Every time they say that, Aaron, I'm like, y'all are all for late-term abortion. I mean, liberals are actually going out saying, Democrats are saying, hey, we're for, if you talk to the doctor and, you make that choice if the baby's born, between you and your doctor, if you want to keep it or not. Keep it or not? You mean kill it? What the hell? That is the discussion.
No, I will never take a moral, lesson from somebody who says, "Oh, we disagree with killing," but then they're okay with literally killing a baby that is feeling every ounce of that pain. I mean, for me, I wouldn't.
That's crazy. Yeah. And remember the pictures of Hitler with all the kids around him? Hitler was a big, that guy wanted to kill an entire race of people. He wanted to kill every Jew in the world. That was his goal. I mean, that's what he wanted to do.
What was Margaret Sanger's? What was Margaret Sanger who I believe that was her name. She founded Planned Parenthood back in the.
She wanted to kill every black person. She was a
20s
racist.
or 30s. Yeah, there we go.
She was a racist.
Really, in my mind, it's no different.
Hillary Clinton said that she admired her. She also was friends with Robert Byrd, was a grand wizard of the KKK. I mean, come on. I mean,
and Saul Alinsky.
Yeah,
Saul Alinsky, who basically is
a terrorist.
Well,
he was a terrorist.
Yeah, he's a terrorist, but he's also some of the excerpts from his book. I didn't read it. I'm just going by what I've heard, but he basically admires Lucifer. So I mean, in that sense, I mean, you're talking about the father of lies, and then you have Hillary Clinton, who I guess would be the mother of them. So I mean,
yeah,
it amazes me. And you were talking about education level before. I think that plays into it, but there are an awful lot of smart people that 3 years ago, at least I thought they were smart people. They voted for Hillary Clinton, and I'm like, look, I realize that these were two candidates at the time that you kind of looked at and said, it's hard to see good in either one of them. Obviously, now we know what Trump is all about and what he's been able to do, but how can anybody look at what we see now about Hillary Clinton and still think she would have been a better choice than Donald Trump? I mean, it just that boggles my mind.
The Democrats have marketed themselves as the group that cares about you, LGBTQ community. We care about you. We care about the kids. We want to give them health insurance. We care about the immigrants, even the illegals that we want to give health insurance to and take away from the American citizens. We care about them. They're always saying they care about things. We care about the homeless. Yet we have 60,000 of them right now in LA. We have 9,000 of them in San Francisco. We have a housing crisis there. We have too many regulations, which causes the higher prices of homes, which means if you have like a retail job and you lose your job, you're going to be homeless next week. But we really care about you. We have the plague coming back in LA. We care about you. We have a rat problem in LA. We really care about you. That's the Democrats. They will continuously say they care about you, yet there will be shit all over the streets, and they don't give a damn about you. And if you've got to go to a politician to fix your damn life, you've got a mental illness. Because I'm telling you right now, even if it's a Republican or Democrat, do you think they can really fix your life? Think about it, folks.
No, and the reason that I typically stand on the side of Republicans, and I'm not happy with either party by any stretch. I'm a conservative, and the Republicans left the conservative movement probably 25 years ago.
Well, George W. Bush.
Typically,
I mean that was George H.W. Bush. Then they really left under George W. Bush. They really lost their way after 9/11, to be honest.
Yeah, when you go back and look at it historically, I would agree with you there. The reason I voted for Trump, and the reason I'll vote for Trump again here in a little over a year, and the reason I vote for Pence when he runs in 2024 and when he runs for re-election in 2028 is the representation that I'm looking for as a citizen is someone who's going to run interference for the government of my country. That is the sole difference between the two. The conservative movement, however you want to define it, I guess at this point, is we're going to separate the government from the people and the people from the government. And on the other side, all they want is to make the government bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And at some point when everyone is a part of the government, and what I mean by that is everyone's on welfare, everyone's on social medicine, everyone's on, hey, nobody has to work. Money will just show up in your account every 2 weeks.
We're going to give you $1,000 a month. Was it Julian Castro is like, I'm going to give you $1,000 a month.
Yeah.
A basic, I guess it was like a paycheck or something. It's like, what the hell? I mean, this is not America. This is Venezuela. I mean, that's what's coming down to. So you're going to just have $1,000 out of nowhere. We got like $22 trillion in debt. These people are like living in this fantasy land, and they're really pandering to low info people. That's what they're doing. But they want to create more low info people. That's how they do it.
They asked Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, where are we going to get this money, or how are we going to pay for it? And she answered, you just spend the money. Well, the money has to come from somewhere.
You just pay it.
I mean,
you just pay for it.
I don't go. Listen, man. I know you and I have similar things in terms of our employment. I don't go to work to pay for anything other than my needs, my family's needs, and I know you're the same way.
Yeah,
absolutely. And I want to have an enjoyable life. I want to be able to have a few things here and there. I don't want to live necessarily an exorbitant life or extravagant life necessarily. I don't feel like I need to do that, but I want to be able to enjoy it. And I think that's what conservative leadership wants to do.
Evil.
They want to say, hey,
that's evil conservatives, Aaron. You want to keep your money and spend it the way you want to spend it. But the liberals know so much better. Like, we've got to make this into a charity. What, a charity with bureaucracy all through D.C. that pays people six-figure salaries for doing shit? That's not how it works. I mean, ever since this Great Society thing from Lyndon Johnson, and Lyndon Johnson was a flat-out racist. But, Democrats love him. He wanted to create a great society where we're going to have a war on poverty. So we spent trillions of dollars, and all we did was break up black families. I mean, that's what it came down to. We broke up white families. We broke up all sorts of families because we made it easy for women to be single moms. And I guess the feminist movement could have done that too. It's like, you don't need a man.
Or just reinforce
as soon as people do that, then all of a sudden, these women are struggling. Having multiple children from multiple fathers, it could be white, it could be black, it could be anything, okay? It's just the way it is. They are creeping on creating generational poverty, which leads eventually to communism. That's what happens, because you're going to create so many people that are dependent on government. They're going to say, the economy is collapsing. We need to have a centralized government that's going to centralize everything. Food, to make sure everybody's fed. Housing, to make sure everybody has a house. Here's the thing. Some people just don't want to live inside. There are homeless people out there that don't want to live in a house. I'm sorry. They don't want to. Yeah. They actually want to live on the streets. They don't want to change. There's a point where we should help the people that want to change their lives, that want to make their lives better. But there will always be poverty. No matter which country you're going to live in, there's always going to be poverty. And once you accept that you can't fix everybody, there will be more people doing better because you're not stealing from the middle class to pay for shit that won't work. It doesn't work. If it worked, folks, the Democrats would have fixed it by now, because all they do is spend money. They throw money at the education system. They throw money at all these different programs. Today, here's some creeping communism for you. They hate capitalism so much in San Francisco, they have banned bottled water at the airport. They banned it. Did you see that? Did you see that, Aaron?
Remind me not to fly through there.
They removed, today, all bottled water out of the airport in San Francisco, because they want to, I think by 2025, they want to have zero garbage. Okay, so you're telling me zero garbage? How the hell are you going to do that? There's always going to be garbage, you dumbasses. It doesn't work that way. So they're trying to get zero garbage by 2025. But they will still sell soda. They will still sell Gatorade. I'm not trying to say anything bad about companies, but they're still allowing bottled beverages to be sold except for bottled water. Don't these assholes want you to drink water? Isn't water good for you?
That doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
Isn't water better for you than drinking sugar sodas or even diet sodas? Yeah, it's better for you. I mean, it's proven. But they don't want you to do that.
Because if you go to New York, they made it illegal, I don't know how many years ago, to buy soda in more than a 20-ounce container. It's like
exactly because it was bad for you, but they'll still sell you cigarettes at $10 a pack because the taxes are high on it. See, don't believe the liberal garbage. They don't really care about your health. And what they did too, they created a black market for cigarettes in New York City. That's what they created. There's a black market now where you go out and it's illegal to bring cigarettes from out of state because the taxes are so high.
It is.
It's illegal. They want to prevent a black market from happening. That's communism.
Here's the thing they'll do too. Here's the thing they'll do too. In New York, for instance, with it's either the soda tax or the soda consumption ban. Like they don't allow a certain amount to be purchased at one time in a certain container. Like you can buy. It's funny. You can buy 64 ounces, but you got to buy it in 3 20-ounce containers.
Yeah.
Makes
so
no
there's
sense
more
at all.
styrofoam and more plastic waste. That makes a lot of damn sense.
Just like what we were talking about before. They're saying, oh well, little Johnny over here who's 7 and weighs 130 pounds, we're doing that because of him. Well, no. He either has a genetic issue or some sort of health issue, or you know what? Maybe his parents shouldn't have allowed him to drink Coke from the time he was, 2 years old, and now he's in this situation. Take personal.
It's not a government problem.
Folks.
It's a parenting problem. Yeah. The government is now trying to become our parents. It's like we need to step in.
Anytime the government says,
"Oh my God,"
yeah,
it's crazy.
Anytime the government says there's a problem we need to fix, you need to run the other direction.
It's because they created it.
They're telling you
the government's creating the problems. When they create the problems, they're like, "We need to fix it." And I'm telling you right now, folks, if you want creeping communism, when President Obama got passed through the Affordable Care Act, they knew that wasn't going to work. But it worked not to the way they thought it was going to work. They wanted to create an absolute crisis situation in this country for health insurance. They wanted to make it so out of control that they say it's so out of control we have to dismantle it and do Medicare for all. That was the goal, folks. But it didn't work because people pushed back on that.
The goal is a single-payer healthcare system.
Absolutely. They wanted to destroy the private insurance sector. I know what? I like my private insurance, folks. I don't want to be on Medicare. I don't want to be on government-ran healthcare because you know what they do? They make the decisions for you, whether you live or die. That's what happens.
Yep.
It happens in Great Britain all the time. There's been stories of children that can't get health care, and the government's like, they're going to die. They're going to die. How's that compassionate? This is like Western civilization in Europe going to shit. But their birth rates are low there, Aaron. They're so low, they bring in people from the Middle East to replace them. That's creeping communism too, folks. When you bring in a bunch of people, because you're saying our birth rates are too low, we're going to bring in people that do not believe in our system of government. They do not believe in our moral values, and they don't speak the language. So you're creating a situation where you're just bringing people in for bodies, but it doesn't work. It hasn't worked ever. And this happened in just bringing this up too, in Germany when Hitler was around. They had an abortion crisis in Germany. Did you know that, Aaron? They had an abortion crisis there.
I was not aware. Yeah, I was not aware of that.
They had an issue with the German whites were having a extraordinarily high abortion rate. And that's when he created that SS program where they were the breeding program that they had there in Germany. Because the women were having too many abortions. So the birth rate was going too low. And now Germany has the same issue. Now they're bringing in people from the Middle East to replace them. That is crazy. And this is the one world government thing that's happening. They want the borders gone, Aaron. They want your guns gone, and they want to control you. That's all they care about. If you think there's a conspiracy out there, there's a damn conspiracy out there. Absolutely. They have to take down America. They have to take us down. And Donald Trump, he's not perfect, folks.
He's been standing in the way of it.
He is standing in the way. And they wanted Hillary Clinton in there. I can guarantee it. That's who they wanted.
Yep.
Because she's going to go the next step. The next step. She would have gun grabbed by now. Absolutely. She would have done it. She would have gone for it. But you got Kamala Harris. You got Elizabeth Warren. You got Beto, or whatever his name is. Robert O'Rourke from Texas saying that we are a racist country. We're founded on racist values. He's white, by the way, folks.
It's like I was saying before.
He's white.
You watch.
He's not Hispanic. He's white. He calls himself Beto. Yeah. But just because you speak some decent Spanish doesn't mean you can just take a Spanish name, folks. This is like the classic Democrat marketing ploy campaign to make you think that someone's something that they're not. Like Elizabeth Warren thought she was an American Indian. She was in Sioux Falls, Iowa, the other day, apologizing for her mistakes. You shouldn't be running for president, chick. You shouldn't be a senator. You lied to get through college. She lied, Aaron, but she's a front runner. And you got good old Joe Biden that touches kids inappropriately on video. He's a front runner, and he's racist. He says racist stuff all the time. All the time. You know the 7-Elevens? I mean, you can't go into one without seeing a guy with a thick Indian accent. Remember that one? Racist. Yeah. Racist, folks. But if a Republican says anything that might sound bad, like I'm white, that's racist. That's what they do.
Yeah. There was somewhere out west. Obviously, out west is where the hub for Liberal America 101, puts up its flag. I'm going to paraphrase here. I don't remember exactly how it was worded, and you can probably look this up online. Lady basically in charge of some group was saying that fathers, taking care of their kids, that's racist right there to do that. I'm like, what? How did that? How did we take that word, which actually is a bad thing? Like racism in itself is, just we went through a terrible time as a country many years ago. And now we're just throwing that word out there like it has.
But who made those laws?
No meaning to it at all.
Who made those racist laws? Democrats.
Yeah.
They did it. Jim Crow laws were Democrats. Slavery was Democrats. And it's funny because they're taking down all the Confederate statues around the country and renaming Confederate, like General Lee or whatever, Robert E. Lee high schools and stuff, middle schools, elementary schools, because they're trying to erase their history. They try to rebrand it. And but
there's an old saying: if you don't learn from history, you're doomed to repeat it. And that's what they're doing, is they're erasing it so that it becomes repeatable in their favor, though.
They're making the American flag racist. Have you noticed that? They're making it racist.
Well, no, I got into what was it? It was right before the election 3 years ago, and there was a gentleman that I knew from a certain establishment. I won't say where. He was leaning more towards Hillary Clinton, and it was when the whole kneeling for the flag with the NFL players was going down.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so the debate that went on between he and I was the national anthem is racist, and I'm like, tell me one. I know there's more than one verse, obviously, to it. I think there's 7 verses, if I'm not mistaken. I actually had to memorize those when I was in middle school, 30 years ago.
Oh wow. There he is, telling his age.
Yeah. So I'm trying to think back in my head, like, well, what is it that's being perceived this way? And that's always what happens with a liberal. When you get into an argument with somebody who is arguing a liberal side or a liberal viewpoint, all they can do is say the same thing over and over again, louder and louder and louder, thinking that maybe that's just going to make it true. But then you go with the facts, and you know what? At the end
It's
of the
like
day,
a kid yelling.
I'm not going to get into it.
It's like a little
Yeah,
kid.
I'm not going to get into an argument with a liberal because as soon as I use facts, they're just going to start whining and crying. It's gotten ridiculous.
And why in this country, Aaron, have we got to the point where we ask people who they voted for? There was a time in this country where you didn't discuss who you voted for. But now it's like, if you mention you voted for Trump, you're like, oh, you're a racist. You're a Nazi. You're
well, you might get shot for doing that now. I mean,
oh, I know some cities they'll shoot you, and they believe in gun confiscation. They'll still shoot you.
Yeah,
maybe they should have their guns taken away from them. But let's get back to this red flag thing, because I think there's an interesting story that I picked up on BuryingArms.com, and I'm gonna read this out because I think the people need to understand this concept that we were talking about earlier in the show. This is a good example of it. Magnus Whitman posted on Facebook, let me tell you why red flag laws are an awful idea. I bought a handgun years back and posted a photo on social media. Just a handgun sitting in its case. Caption was probably something like, can't wait to take this to the range. Totally innocuous. One of my relatives, who surprised lives in New York City, had an absolute meltdown. Blew up my messages, posted public pleas on my timeline, don't kill yourself. I know how hard life can be. Called my goddamn parents, who I'd already spoken to that day, and knew that she was a lunatic, and talked her out of, you guessed it, calling the police. If red flag laws existed, this actual living, real-life liberal nut job, who I'm unfortunately related to, could, in all likelihood, would call the cops on a effing whim and have them come out and take my guns. And he said, I mean, I'm going to try to leave the F words out tonight. I'm trying to make it a family program a little bit. F that noise. Advocating for that horse shit, I'll say that. I've said that already. Is literally advocating for the police to come and steal my property under false pretenses because that member of my family sucks. So I'm calling out every instance I see, and I urge you to do the same. So let's go over a list. And I think it's a good example of how a red flag law can actually go crazy. You have a crazy-ass liberal that doesn't like guns. You know what? Guns have never killed a person. People kill people. Do you blame... I mean, people drop... we dropped atomic bombs on Japan. Do you blame the atomic bomb? It was people that did that. And
well, no, and
bad things happen.
I'll throw this one out there. And it's sad to say this, but in less than 18 years, our country has forgotten what happened on 9/11.
Absolutely.
Nearly 3,000 people were killed in the planes, on the ground, in the towers.
And the people that died
Pentagon,
afterwards, the first responders that died from cancer.
Yeah.
From all the asbestos that spewed everywhere in that dust. And even people that were out there got affected by that.
Yeah.
The untold stories of all these people that died. Are we going
to ban box cutters? Are we going to ban airplanes? Are we going to ban high-rise buildings? I mean,
or we ban cars? Ban box trucks? Remember the Oklahoma City bomber used the U-Haul.
Yeah. Well, and there was, and this did not make the national headline news, but there was some wacko job out in California here a week or two back that stabbed like a whole block of people, like maybe 50 people.
Ban knives,
I want to say at least 4 or 5 of them didn't make it. And there was maybe 6 months or a year ago, there was a campaign actually going on. It was called "Give Up Your Knife to Save a Life," and I'm like,
that's in England, right?
What on earth is?
That's in London,
yeah,
right?
Maybe that's where I'm thinking it was at.
It's in London.
It's just like, yeah,
they're banning knives now because the gun ban wasn't enough. Bad people, evil people will find a way to hurt people. So now they're banning steak knives in London because there's no guns. Evil is evil is evil, folks. They will find a way to hurt people. It takes good people to stop it. That's what it takes.
Yep.
Disarming the people is not going to solve the issue. We have a moral issue in this country. We have drug issues in this country. We have a moral compass that's being disintegrated by the left. They're saying that you can make the decisions. You don't need God. You don't need Jesus anymore. Oh, you just need us. That's communism.
Yeah.
Godless. And like Joe Biden claims to be a Christian. These Democrats that claim to be Christians but are all for abortion on demand. That's not a Christian, folks. That's a false prophet.
Yeah.
And if you're counting on people like that to defend your family, you're stupid. And I'll say that straight up. Let's go over a couple of the states that have red flag laws already in effect. And some of these states aren't even using them really, but they have them on the books. California, Colorado, Connecticut, Delaware, Florida. Florida's actually used it quite a bit lately. They have done a lot of gun confiscation, which is scary because we live in Florida. Illinois, Indiana, Maryland, Massachusetts, New Jersey, New York, Oregon, Rhode Island, Vermont, Washington State, and Washington, D.C. Washington, D.C. doesn't actually do a lot of it. Florida, it's like, you read a lot of stories in Florida. There's a lot of gun confiscation going on in Florida right now under this red flag law. And I'm not saying we should not be looking for people that could be doing something, but you just can't go in there, start taking guns, saying someone thinks you're a threat. There has to be proof.
I want to be clear on something here. Matt. I shared a story with you probably about, 2 weeks ago. Somewhere in Palmetto, Bradenton, St. Petersburg, somewhere in that vicinity, there was a guy who made a threat to shoot up a school, some heinous crime like that, and they investigated him. And the either district attorney or assistant district attorney, whoever it was in charge of making the decision on the charging of this individual, said, "No, we're not going to do anything." So, where I'm okay with something like if you make a threat, the full extent of the law should be thrown at you first and foremost. If you make a threat like that, and because at that point they have the right to investigate you, to come and see if you actually have something. If you make a threat like that, they need where there do need to be new laws. This is, I think, where I think most people would probably say common sense dictates this. If you make a threat like that, and they find that you have a weapon in your possession or in your ownership, then you should lose your weapon. That I think most people would probably agree with, right?
Because those people are dangerous. Because they've already made a
that
threat.
person's already they have the means to do it, and they've already said that they're willing to do it.
Yes, absolutely.
So I want to make sure the audience is clear on where I stand on that, because I think that's probably where most
agree with you.
Conservatives would say, yeah, that's common sense.
You can't go on social media and say you're going to shoot up something. It's like you're going to go to, I think they say they're going to go to the nearest elementary school and shoot people. You can't do that. I mean, there's people that do stupid stuff like that on social media. It's just a joke. No, asshole, it's not a joke. You can't say that.
Funny about that.
It's like screaming fire in a movie theater.
Fire in a theater, yeah.
You can't do that. There's laws against that because you're going to instill a panic. You can't do that. And I think there was an instance that happened last week here in Polk County where we live, where there's a couple guys shooting BB guns or something, and someone saw something. They called the cops, and the sheriff's department went out there. This is in the Davenport area, near Davenport Elementary in northeast Polk County, near I-4. So they talked to him, found there was a threat. They took pictures of it. They posted on social media. If you see something, say something. But they didn't confiscate anything. Now, that's where, I mean, someone saw something. I get it. It was near a school. Sure, it turned out everything was fine. But the scary part is it could turn into something where we pit neighbor against neighbor, liberal versus conservative, and that's where it gets really scary. And I cannot say enough that I support our law enforcement. I know there's a lot of great law enforcement officers out there I know personally. They would not enforce this type of red flag type of legislation they're trying to push through. But if it gets to a national level,
has to be on the law enforcement side too.
And here's the thing: Trump is pushing for this red flag law thing. And folks, you need to write your congressmen, your senators, you need to write President Trump that you don't support this, because this is a dangerous thing. Because President Trump might feel that this is a good thing in his mind, but if you get a Democrat in office and use something against us like this, that's dangerous. Because remember, just because you create something you think is good for now Get someone in there that wants total power over you. They'll use anything they can against you. So just keep that in mind, folks. I mean, we got to be careful on these laws we create. We always create more and more laws for people that do bad things. You know it's already illegal to murder someone, right, Aaron? That's the law, right?
I was not aware of that, Matt.
Okay, well, breaking news tonight on the Brower Report. Aaron didn't know murder was against the law. All right, but it is. So is drinking and driving, but we don't ban cars, right? We don't ban cars.
Yeah.
I mean, we ban people from driving cars, but they keep driving cars, right? You got people with like multiple DUIs.
The point is,
suspended license is still driving.
The point is,
but you can't do
yeah.
that.
The point is this: like, even you talk about drinking and driving. You know, we had a prohibition here 100 years ago in America. The point is, you can ban stuff all you want. You can speak out against it, and you know, if somebody doesn't like guns, that's their business. You don't have to like guns.
You don't like to drink, don't
Just
drink.
like you don't have to like what I.
You don't like guns?
Yeah. If you
don't
don't
like
like
cars,
what I
don't
say,
drive.
you don't have to listen to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you don't like airplanes, don't fly them. You know, you can go down the whole list. But at the end of the day, you can ban things all you want. And I think that the liberals, where their mind is really, and where their judgment is really off base or off kilter is. Sometimes I feel like this in their minds. Oh, a gun ban means that guns don't exist anymore. It's almost like they have this imagination, like as soon as we ban guns, they disappear. It doesn't work that way, folks. And you can ban whatever you want to ban all you want. It's just like driving down the interstate. You're supposed to go 70, but you see people driving 90 all the time. People don't follow laws. If you don't respect the law, then you're not going to follow the law. And if you don't respect life, then you're not going to care if you take a life, whether that's driving drunk, whether that's just speeding in general, or whether it's taking a weapon into a store like this idiot out in Texas did a few weeks ago and shooting people because you have, you know, a hatred for certain types of people. That's really what it boils down to, is people don't have the respect. And, again, you can ban whatever you want to ban. It doesn't mean people are going to follow the rules. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter.
Damn right. Ooh, Aaron. On fire. Woo.
On fire tonight, yeah.
On fire, man. Wow. It's called the Aaron Report. Man, killing it. All right, let's go for one more crazy news story. Then we'll do the feel-good story of the day, folks. There is a thing coming from Energy Star and the feds. The coolest you should keep your house is 78 degrees, according to the feds. So the feds want to take my guns, then tell me to keep my air conditioning really hot and drive me crazy. Okay, I get it. All right, and they're also saying at night, Energy Star also said you should have your thermostat at 82 degrees when you're sleeping. Have these assholes ever lived in Florida? They live in Alaska, northern Canada. I mean, I don't get this.
I got to be honest with you, Matt. I got to be honest with you, Matt. I not to go too personal here, but I keep my house at 72.
Woo, that's cold,
even
dude.
At night.
That's really cold, man.
And sometimes because I have cats, and
oh, you're the cat man.
You know, cats have. Yeah, I've got cats.
Man.
Yeah, there we go. So I've got cats, and I'm not a big fan of cat hair being all over me personally.
Ooh.
So I have to keep my blankets on. Yeah. So in order to offset the heat in the summertime outside already, and then the fact that I have a blanket and a comforter on top of me because I don't want the cat hair on me, I've got to keep the air low. So 82 at night, my air would never run at that point. I mean,
that's what they don't want you to do. It's
yeah.
global warming, man. It's a conspiracy. Try to keep the climate change down. That's what they're trying to do. I mean,
I'm going to run this thing as low as I want to.
Oh, I mean, okay, here's what I do. I'll tell you, folks, here's what I do. Judge me. I don't give a shit. Judge me. All right. Okay, I do 78 during the day. I have one of those, it's not a Nest, but it's one of those things that is Wi-Fi enabled. I can check over my phone and all that good stuff. I'm very technology savvy. It's 2019, folks. I'm one of those guys. So I keep it at 78 during the day. I have a dog. I have a golden retriever. His name's Buddy. He's a good dog. I don't want to keep it like too hot for him. So I do 78 during the day. And I have it timed where it's going down gradually to 74 when I get home from work. That's how I design it. So, but I'm going to try to keep it at 74 at night because, one, I live in Florida. It's hot. I mean, and plus, it's humid. I have to keep the humidity down too. My beautiful hair, as people can watch the video, my beautiful locks. I don't want the humidity to affect my. I'm coughing. I lied. Oh God. Oh. I really started coughing. I'm dying. Help. I'm sorry. I lied.
I knew the Clintons were going to get to you at some point,
God.
man. I just didn't know when. So.
Oh my God. Bill and Hillary. Ugh. Okay. I think I'm back. Kinda. Woo. Man, that's near death. Epstein felt that a couple weeks ago. Just kidding. Bad joke. Bad joke, everybody. All right. Aaron, take me to the feel-good story of the day because I'm almost dying over here.
All right, so let me pull up the feel-good story of the day. I know we talked about an alternate one earlier. I think we're going to skip over that one for now.
Oh, skip over that one. That was his personal feel-good story of the day.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
We'll have to post that one on the page so everyone knows what we're talking about. Yeah. All right, so the feel-good story of the day, an Ohio boy donated his county fair winnings to St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital. The amount he donated was $15,000. This happened in Huron County, Ohio. It says the boy used his livestock premiums from the Huron County Fair in a very generous way, donating them all to St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital, according to Western Reserve Local Schools. Diesel Pippert, that's a really awesome name too, by the way, a 7th grader at Western Reserve Local Schools, donated all of his livestock premiums from the fair's large animal sale to Children's Hospital, of course. And it says here, the $15,000, let's see here, it's kind of repeating itself in some of the story, but I mean, how about that? $15,000 is a lot of money for you and I. So for somebody who's in 7th grade.
For a kid.
Yeah. So
that's great.
7th grade, which, you know, my son is in 8th grade now, so this kid's probably 13, 12, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
I mean, $15,000 is not anything to sneeze at for anybody. So.
Oh, no. He worked hard, too.
Got to give this credit.
Those FFA kids, man, they work hard.
He could have used this money for, you know, a lot of other things.
Minecraft.
A very generous donation. And St. Jude Children's Hospital is a really good, worthy cause, too. They do a lot of really great work.
They do really great work over there. This is a good
example
of a good kid.
Having a really awesome name.
Oh, yeah. That's an awesome name. That kid's solid. No one's messing with Diesel.
Yeah.
He's driving a diesel probably too.
Sure.
When he gets 16, he's driving a diesel truck around. It's like, I drive myself around. I'm Diesel. I mean, that'd be great. I mean, the kid's got a great name. Good parents. I mean, you got to look at the parents. The parents probably did a damn good job with this kid. This kid's like, I want to help people because my parents help people.
Yeah.
That's how you create a great society. Not a great society through welfare programs. It's because you got good kids, good parents, good people. That's what we need more of nowadays is just good people, not politicians.
No, and you know, I know this is neither here nor there here in 2019 with the political climate that we live in now, but we need people on both sides, regardless of the ideals and the political leanings, to just say, you know what, enough is enough. And that's what I'm hoping happens. I'm hoping that people will stop running to the politician for the help and running to the government for the, you know, take care of me, and say, you know what, we're going to take it upon ourselves to take care of our brother, whether that person has the same beliefs as they do, you know, and I know that's probably a silly thing to think about in almost 2020, but that would be the feel-good story of the next, you know, 10 years if something like that could happen.
Yeah, it's all about helping people. If we can help other people, we don't need the government to do it for us and create all these bureaucratic nightmares and red tape and this, like, whenever a politician says, I'm going to fix something, run.
Yep.
They're going to create another program that's going to fail because, remember, people run these programs. If they don't want it to work, they'll just make it flop. That's what happens. They're not going to give the maximum effort. It just does not happen. But, Aaron, it's been a pleasure, dude. I want to say thanks for stepping up as you always do when Bill's taking a night off. You jump in there, feet first. You swim. You don't sink. You're not like Bill and walk into the Circle B Swamp Preserve. You do what you got to do for the show, dude. And we appreciate what you do for us.
My pleasure, Matt.
You're the man.
Yeah, my pleasure. I enjoy it every time. So.
All right. Well, that's Aaron, executive producer, co-host of the show when Bill's out. We appreciate all of his support. Hey, before we go, the poll.
Yeah, let me go back to the polls
yes,
here.
Let's go for
Facebook
the
is
poll.
giving me a little bit of an issue right now. So the poll question, basically to paraphrase it here, are red flag laws going to, lessen the likelihood of a mass shooting, or are they just basically more gun laws and gun grabbing in disguise? And basically 96% said it was basically gun control in disguise. So feel free, folks, again, to vote. I have this one up there, I think, for the rest of this week, all the way till next week. Put comments out there, and maybe again next week we'll read them on the air too.
All right, sounds good. Thanks, Aaron. You're the man. I appreciate it, dude.
Yep.
All right, it's Aaron, executive producer, co-host of the show. Thanks for everything he does for the program. We greatly appreciate it. Remember, folks, we are live on Tuesday nights at 6 p.m. So if you ever want to make a phone call into us, we will take your calls live on the air, so you can bring your information out there. A lot of people love the podcast side of it, so they download the podcast during the week. Remember, folks, you can get us on iHeartRadio, iTunes, Stitcher, Blog Talk Radio. You can get us on YouTube also, and on Facebook.com/BrowerReport. And you can check out our wonderful meme selection as well. We have a great meme selection on Facebook.com/BrowerReport and on Instagram @BrowerReport. So make sure to check out all those great ways to interact with us, message us, and we will get back to you and tell you how we feel about things. And you tell us how you feel. We want to hear from you, the American people. Thanks so much for listening to us tonight. We greatly appreciate it. Sorry for my little almost Clinton-esque situation at the end of the show that Aaron jumped in and helped me out. So we'll be back next week live at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Thanks so much for listening to us and watching us. Have a great week.